What is astrology but me describing your essence on your terms, like we do for a child at best? We look at our child's chart and we go, oh, this child doesn't like to talk, but that child can't stop. And how important it is as the mother, as the father, to say, you don't have to talk, and go ahead, tell me every thought you're having. So there's distinctions in personality. That's what the function of astrology in the name of evolution is. If I understand myself, I mean, what a nice thought. If I really have a relationship with my nature to start with, then to your point, what you said before the show started, you'll find your niche, you'll find your passion, you'll be authentically embodied. But if I'm shapeshifting to accommodate, which is what the Piscean age was, in the Piscean age, you had to get married, you had to have kids, you had to live where your family lived. You couldn't leave the town that your family lived in, or you would have no source of food because you would have been banished. And when you went to the next village, they're like, why are you here? You couldn't pick your wife.
I'm from India. We still can't. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's real. That's the Piscean age is India, the caste system, the hierarchy put in place by someone we don't even know who. And then Aquarius came in and said, "Don't tell me what to do," and that's the era we're in.
It's interesting because I think some people resist. Well, it's really awesome to sort of see how much awareness we can decode about ourselves. And I'm already just picturing, like, if I knew more about like my wife, my sons, like I could, interact with them, hold space for them better, and just, my relationship dynamics would be improved. Well, not that they're bad, but they could improve significantly.
Totally, such a beautiful thought.
And one of the things I'm noticing, as you said, I couldn't help but feel like, because I've done the Myers-Briggs personality test, and we've got all these different types of personality tests, and I'm just like, and I think most people tuning into this podcast have like a sort of an itch to scratch, like, who am I? Like, let me just do a personality test on that. But it's just like, this is like an ancient tool to like understand yourself, which goes way deeper and is way more individualized for the
Every
person.
system from the human design to gene keys to the Enneagram to the Myers-Briggs. Myers-Briggs is based on the four personality types. It's all astrology. The mothership of all those systems.
Astrology.
Raise your hand if you know where the mothership is.
Well, I'm learning. I'm learning.
I've done this for almost 50 years, and I'm telling you, the system of astrology allows the parenting and the marriage. Like it's so exciting to think about the future because we're turning a corner, even though it's really uncomfortable. And on the other side, you can be sure that astrology will be returned to its right place.
Do you see it being understood more, one thing, but taught more, another thing?
Yes, I have a school. I don't know if you know that. At twice a year, we have thousands of people that come from around the world. They do a one class with only 10 people in the room, and your chart comes on the screen, and you spend all the time studying your chart because we all have an ego. Oh, I remember that part. Everybody raise your hand if you have an ego. Everybody's raising their hand. So the chart is the doorway in as an ego. But then when you get to the rising sign, like your Taurus, I'm sure your wife knows this. You're a sensual sensitive. You've got to be touched. We would never know that. Your whole system's based on yum yum and cuddles and being able to feel connected to those few people. And if you didn't have that, you'd be like a fish out of water. It's true. You require physical consistency. Not everyone needs that. Some people live in their heads, and their job is to be intellects and researchers, and they really collect numbers, and they don't care about touch. It's offensive to them. Get off me. You're like, please, just cuddle me.
Sounds like my wife has the same, probably has the same sign.
Exactly, and
Well.
that's compatibility. To your point, I would be understanding my wife if I knew what her nature was. And yes, people that are similar definitely are drawn together, and people that are opposite are originally attracted, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, interesting about the attraction and repulsion. So, because everybody carries their own chart, and interpersonal dynamics can be such a thing to navigate in so many ways. Are there just some people that you're just better off sort of keeping at arm's length? There are certain people that you're meant to be working with and stuff like that. Is that worth
I
analyzing?
have a company with 50 women, and I know every single one of their charts. I wouldn't
Mm,
hire anybody. I have a brilliant CEO, and she's now fully committed to astrology, and she won't hire anyone without seeing their chart.
mm,
I mean,
mm.
think about it. We now know your skill set. You might be in the wrong seat. I want you to be in the seat where your best qualities show up because it's so instinctual and you're being yourself and you're so good at it.
So at this particular point in the conversation, that sounds like we're so programmed from the outset when we're born. Like, because when we're born, we've got this constellation that's present, and that sort of time frame of like, obviously, it places a lot of importance on an individual's birth, first of all, but second of all, it really opens up this can of worms around destiny, preordained, free will. Like, yeah, your thoughts in this space, because definitely you've
You're
contemplated this
such
for a minute.
you have Moon in Scorpio. You go so deep, which is why your podcast. You have 3 planets in the house of Scorpio. You're a deep soul. Great question. Destiny and free will. I love the line that's written in the stars. There are things that are put in place that you can't negotiate. You're going to get that dog when you're a kid. Those were the parents that were assigned to you. That was your brother, and here comes your wife, and that's your kid. That's written in the stars. That's not a decision. You didn't choose that. People, I hate when they say, I chose my parents. I was like, was I on drugs? Why would I have done that? No, that was an assignment that was given to me based on karma at a higher intelligence, and it didn't have a lot to do with my little mind, because I would have been like, no. So there's an assignment given to you. It's written in the stars. The free will button is you could choose to wear the little outfit you have on. You can choose what you're going to have for breakfast. You can choose whether or not you're going to buy that car. Those are simple options that your free will, ego, taste buds get to choose. But you didn't get a vote about your mom and dad and about the kids that were in your neighborhood and who was going to break your heart and your wife and how you were going to meet her. That's kismet. Those are written in the stars. And by the way, just so you all know, you are being watched. There's an organization going on far beyond your mind. Any astrologer will say in full conviction that God, Einstein said it better than me. God is not playing with dice. It's not random. There's an order. Now, the free will button, you can end the relationship, you can quit that job, you can say no to your sister, you can change yourself in your city. All that is the free will zone. Welcome to the Aquarian age. We have now entered the free will zone. It's little, but there is some freedom inside the story. And this podcast and you guys listening to these spiritual conversations, they're activating a part inside of you that was latent. Like I always did believe in astrology, but I didn't believe in it. But I've always felt like the stars were so magic. But I don't know what that's calling you. But until the moment comes that you would meet me and you would be here on this podcast, the Inspired Evolution podcast, it just was a random thought floating in the back room. Then Kismet, design, order, and then the free will button is will you follow through? And that's evolution. Evolution is the free will button that says, I'm going to choose the high road. I'm going to do the disciplinarian path. I'm going to actually learn meditation, chanting, yoga. That's a decision. So there's the free will. I'm going to be disciplined. That doesn't come naturally.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely loved this, well, then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.